So in a previous episode of this podcast, I asked the somewhat double entendre based question, can you last for 18 seconds? And what we ended up talking about was the notion that people don't listen very long before jumping in to give a response when someone is talking to them. And I got a few pieces of email, some comments saying, well, can you help me here? How do I train myself not to do this? I want to be helpful. And you keep talking all the time about being helpful. Okay, I've got 3 things I'm going to share with you that will help you last at least 18 seconds and do so in a way that's truly helpful to all of the people that you speak with. And we'll do that in this episode of the VO Heroes podcast. So in the pursuit of being a great listener, an active listener, what Jonathan Lowe calls a listener who listens louder. I've got 3 things that I want to share with you real briefly that will help you with this. And it's not just trying to last 18 seconds. It's actually in life. To be a better listener in life, these 3 things often help me. The first one is a silent technique, and the other 2 are more overt. So the first thing that I would mention to you is say something in your head, repeat a word or a phrase that the person just said to you, maybe their name, maybe a concept. Just repeat it to yourself in your head as you're listening. Very short, very sweet, so you can also pay attention to what they're saying. But if somebody says something like, yeah, that microphone, I'm not happy. What else? And just say to yourself, microphone, right? That's it. It's a mnemonic that will help you remember the general idea of what they're saying and lead you to the details of the other thing that they're saying or the details of what they're talking about that microphone. So do that every so often, and you'll find that it helps you touch base with what they've said over the course of the more than 18 seconds that you're listening. The other thing you can do, and this is the second of the 3 things you can do, is to give them verbal clues or just simply nonverbal notions that you are listening. How many times have we been at a party and somebody's staring over our shoulder looking for something that you feel is more interesting to them than what you're saying, right? Instead, nod your head or say, uh-huh. Even if you don't feel the urge to do that very often, you want to give them the space that they need to speak. Just give them that moment of letting them know that you are engaged with them and that you are listening. That doesn't mean interrupting them with any sort of counsel or feedback or advice, right? It's just, oh. And maintain some sort of eye contact with them. It's sort of like, don't look away, don't like look around for something more interesting. Just make sure that you're connected. And the third thing is to give them very overt verbal clues that you are not only hearing them, but would love clarification. So what you're saying to me about the microphone is that blah, 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 and very brief, and let them continue with, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Or, so the microphone's pickup, can you tell me a little bit more about what you're talking? Is it the positioning of the pickup, or is it the way the microphone is hanging or not hanging? Can you tell me a little bit more about that? That's not giving advice or feedback. What it's doing is asking them to help you engage even more in the conversation. At some point, yeah, you're going to have the opportunity, and they may say something overt, like, so what do you think about that? Or they may say, so what do you do in that situation? That's like an invitation to, okay, I've given you what I want. I'm ready for a response. I'm ready for feedback. I'm ready for your advice or your counsel or your feelings on something. You know, it's kind of demoralizing as someone who's engaged in a conversation with someone else when they clearly don't care. They don't give a crap. They don't even want to be standing there. And sometimes people can mistake just being passive listeners with disinterest. And so you don't want that. So repeat a word silently in your head. Give them verbal or nonverbal clues that you are engaged in the conversation. and ask for clarification. Those are the three things that I think would help most often. And I'd love to know if there are things that you do in conversations that you found really effective in engaging people, in having them perceive you as being a great listener. If you've gotten feedback on stuff, I'm passionate about this sort of thing. I really appreciate the conversation that is held below this video on voheroes.com. I'd love to have you subscribe to the channel or hit the like button, or if you want to, share this with another performer, voice talent, actor who you think might benefit from it. I'm David H. Lawrence, the 17th. I thank you so much for watching and for listening. And I will see you in the next episode of the VO Heroes podcast.